This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from the Old Creamery Theatre. Matter of fact, it's 2 for the price of 1 today, as talking about 2 different productions. Say hi to Sean McCall, regular guest here on the Culture Crawl, and Patrick Delaney. You've been here before, too.
I have indeed. Hello. Nice to be back.
Yep. Thanks so much for being here, the 2 of you. So, Buyer and Cellar goes up first. We're talking about Buyer and Cellar and Shear Madness. So why don't we talk Buyer and Cellar, and that is your show, and that's a one-person show, correct?
It is indeed. It's the story of this down-on-his-luck actor in Los Angeles who gets a job working in Barbra Streisand, the mall in Barbra Streisand's basement. The story is fictional, but the fact that Barbra Streisand has a mall in her basement is complete fact.
Okay,
Basically, she has so much stuff that she just arranges all of her stuff in this strange sort of collection of shops.
So it's like little kiosks.
But like the most beautiful little kiosks you've ever seen. It's ridiculous. It's actually based on a book that Barbra Streisand wrote called My Passion for Design, and I think that was sort of the brainchild for the playwright Jonathan Tollins to start this sort of ridiculous journey of this actor who gets to work for Barbra Streisand.
And so it's a one-person show.
It's a one-person show, but I play 9 different parts, including Babs herself.
Okay, so it's not like I just happened to see I'll Eat You Last with the great Marquita Centers, and that was she kind of talked through her memoir, really, so she didn't really portray other characters, but you actually portray multiple characters.
Yes, I have arguments with myself. Yes, it's quite fun. I do that in real life, actually.
Yeah,
but that's not it. Yes. Oh, well, that works out nicely then. Yeah.
And Sean, are you directing this?
Nope.
Okay.
I showed up the other night and saw it, and I hired the people to do it. Chris Okishi as actor.
Oh, Chris is okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's tough when you've got video going on. It makes you turn away from the mic.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Okishi is directing.
And have you done one-man shows before, Patrick?
I never have. So this was very exciting and scary and daunting and wonderful, and I'm having a blast doing it.
All I can think of is all of those lines and no one to help.
Oh yes. Well, that's it's been a very strange experience. I got cast in the role in October, so I would read the play every couple of weeks, just mostly for fun, and then in beginning of May, I started memorizing in earnest, and I tried to do a page a day. But basically by myself. So.
Right.
I'm not the best self-starter, so it was a daunting challenge, but I got it done.
So what's your trick? I mean, do you just read a page, close the book, and try and recite it, or do you tape stuff?
Yeah, I've done that. I've done taping stuff before. I'm pretty lucky. I memorize pretty quickly, so I was able to look at the page, read it a couple of times, and then close the book and try it. The scariest part is when you're learning a play, regardless of what play it is. You have the time where the script's in your hand, and then the script's out of your hand, but you're seeing the words on the page in your head. And I spent a lot of time there. Just yes. Oh, I'm turning the page in my head. That's the next line. So the last couple of weeks have really been about actually putting my attention on the audience, on the story that I want to tell, and not just seeing the pages in my head.
Not just trying to remember the lines. Be the character.
Yeah.
Talking with Patrick and Sean from the Old Creamery Theatre about 2 upcoming plays. So let's move on to, and I should mention, and I'll mention again, and those watching the video will, of course, see it at the bottom of the screen, that you open July 21st.
Yes.
And pretty much run through the end of the month.
Yep.
Couple of 3 weeks.
8 performances, 2 weekends.
And then coming up in August, opening the 4th, is Shear Madness.
You betcha. It's back with a vengeance.
Yes, because this is something you've done before.
We did it last summer. It was incredibly popular, and the thing about Shear Madness is it is literally never the same show twice. It is because parts of it are similar each time, but the audience truly controls the show with the questions they ask.
Because it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure.
It is
format.
Although I have heard that the choose-your-own-adventure people try to sue if you use that
say
phrase.
That, okay.
So
copyright.
So it's not on our website. But yeah, it really is. I mean, and because of that, it's very fun as actors because you never know how the show is going to go. You never know who the murderer is going to be until the audience tells you. And because of that, and because Shear is always striving to stay topical, the jokes change. it's all based on happening today, and so we get licensed to change up the jokes, and so we're betting that people who saw it before may come back, and the people who missed it and heard what a great show it was will show up this time.
And for those who aren't familiar, sketch out the plot. It's a murder that takes place in a hair salon.
Yeah, the Shear Madness salon is owned and run by Tony Whitcomb, who is the character that I play, and there's another stylist there. There's a couple of customers. Mrs. Schubert is a regular customer, Marquita Centers, who you just saw. She of the foul mouth in the studio tames down her language a little to play Mrs. Schubert on the main stage. There's a shady antiques dealer, but everyone's there. A woman upstairs gets killed. The audience is asked to help the police sort of figure out who's telling the truth and in what order things happened, and it really is a fun show as an actor as well as an audience member.
And then how does the audience participation come in?
Well, the people, Sheer Madness has been running almost 35 years now, maybe close to 40 in Boston. So they know their stuff, and they're very good about, they sort of welcome the audience in a way that's not threatening. I mean, people hear the AP words or the audience participation thing, and they go, "Oh, I don't want to do that."
It's like asking a Lutheran to clap in church.
Oh, yeah. Lordy, yeah. So you're free to sort of participate as much or as little as you want, and it really happens in such a way in the beginning that you don't feel threatened. You're sort of responding with mob mentality. As to who's telling the truth and who's not. And then eventually it opens up to audience members who can ask questions if they want. No one is going to force you to, but almost always the audience wants to know the answers to their questions. So we field a wide variety from them. So it's a lot of fun.
Has it ever gone off? Of course, as you said, you did the show last year, and you said, and of course, because we're in a different time, it'll be different. But was there ever any question or any way that it veered off that was totally unexpected? I mean, in 30 years, you would think that everything that had been done has been done, but... Yeah, each audience has its own... Sometimes they really try to ramrod it down a direction that is not beneficial to them or to us. It's like they're convinced that something is true, and it's just not. The thing that we most were surprised about last year, and I also directed a production over at Circuit 21 this spring, and what we found it happen occasionally over there, they are convinced that a certain prop was not the prop that was in the show earlier. They are convinced, and they will fight you tooth and nail, and the truth is there is only one prop. It is what it is, and they're convinced that it's a different color before, or that somebody's trying to pull a switcheroo on you. And I'm like, it really makes me fear the criminal justice system. Because I go, you're an eyewitness here. Yeah, the most unreliable witness of all is the eyewitness.
Here, all that's at stake is theater. But in a courtroom where somebody's life is on the line, I'm here to tell you that prop didn't change from the time you saw it, and you are convinced it's different. So that's a little unnerving.
Talking with Sean and Patrick about Shear Madness and Buyer and Cellar coming up at the Old Creamery Theatre. So, Patrick, favorite moment in the script or show thus far? Because you haven't opened yet, and unlike Sean, you haven't done this before. But what's the don't miss moment that you think of right now?
Oh, I really like making up the story on the spot of Fifi the doll. There's a part in the play where I first met Barbara, and she likes to improv, she likes to engage, and she likes to test. And we're in the doll shop where all of her dolls are, and she points to a doll and says, "What's the story on that one?" And I have to just make it up. That one's quite fun to do.
Now, is that something that you do differently each time? Or
No. It's not Sheer Madness. This one's actually scripted, but the script is so funny. It's not often that you read a script that you're alone in the room and you're laughing out loud. So it's a joy to work on. And you don't have to like Barbara to like the play. It's not a Barbara-file kind of show. You can hate her and you'll love this.
And speaking of Barbara, there's still one more weekend of I'll Eat You Last.
There is. So
I saw this last weekend with Marquita Centers, and it was just a riot.
She does a great job.
You should go and see I'll Eat You Last. You have a couple more performances left of that this weekend before these excellent shows open. And John, how do people get tickets to these awesome shows?
Awesome shows. You can call our box office at 319-622-6262, which is 622 Amana. Or 62 Amana, or online is the easy way too. You can even choose a seat, although Patrick's is general admission. But Shear Madness, you can look at the grid and go, I want to sit there. And that's oldcreamery.com.
But in the studio, every seat's a good seat.
Every seat, yeah, that's true. And having just been there, I can support that. Every seat is a good one. Well, good luck with both shows.
Thanks. Thank you.
Sounds like a great end to the summer theater season at Old Creamery. Yep,
you bet.
You can go every weekend and see something cool. Patrick and Sean, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.